Well, this is our first plant. So far we have been growing our position in Brazil from imports coming from Mexico, from Japan, from other countries, which is good for an initial phase. But you reach 1.2% market share. Okay, it's a first base. Obviously, this is far from our potential. Our potential is much higher than this. So now it's time to establish our own industrial base, localize our product, and go for the offensive. I want to remind everybody that our market share goal in Brazil is at least 5% for Power 88 during the period of Power 88. So it's a very important phase for us, you know. And it's important also because this is the only BRIC country where we did not clarify an offensive strategy. You know, we have already announced China, and we're going full-fledged in China, started in 2003. We passed the 1 million mark. Now we're going to a capacity of 2 million. Then we announced Russia in 2006 with St. Petersburg. And now we are working on the lines with AvtoVAZ. And third, we announced Chennai, and it's going very well with practically, you know, demand on our product coming out of the Chennai plant, both for internal market and export, very strong. Brazil was, in a certain way, the last brick in the wall of our strategy of conquest, where for the first time, Nissan is finding itself without any handicap. You know, we have the product, we have the technology, we have the quality, we have the name, the brand is getting back very, very strongly. So that's why I think it's a very important moment for Nissan in Brazil and for Nissan as a global company. Well, it's very important because, in fact, by having a plant supplying Brazil, we're going to be relieving our plants in Mexico. So all the capacity in Mexico, which was dedicated to supply Brazil, is going to now be available for United States, Canada, Latin America, which is good news for everybody. In a certain way, we are freeing capacity for Latin America and North America, so the progression of the brand in these markets can continue. Well, I'm not sure I understand well the question. Let me tell you, because in fact, there is no way we can predict how currencies are going to go in the future. If they're going to strengthen, if they're going to weaken, if you're going to have volatility, if you're going to have stability. We don't. So the only way to protect ourselves against factors which are beyond our control is to have absolutely no exposure to currency. And what's the best way to have no exposure on the currency is to be localized. In a certain way, if our cost in real are not very far from our revenue in real, we're protected against any volatility into the real. This is not valid for the real, it's valid for the yen, it's valid for the dollars, it's valid for the euro. So what we're doing here, in a certain way, by positioning a plant in Brazil, producing in Brazil, sourcing the cars in Brazil, we're protecting ourselves against any increase or decrease in the value of the real, which is very good because, in fact, the profit we will make will depend mainly on our own performance and not on some kind of lucky bet on exchange rate. Well, Brazil is a very rich country with a growing population. We're approaching 200 million inhabitants. It's a country where the level of the rate of cars per 1,000 inhabitants is still very moderate. We're talking about 250. You know, an average European country is at 580. So there is a lot of margin of progression. It's a country which is investing heavily in infrastructure. Particularly, the new president has decided a package of investment in power, roads, and this is very good for the automotive industry. It's already the fourth largest market in the world after China, the United States, and Japan. The rate of growth is one of the highest, and frankly, everything is pointing toward the fact that we have to contribute to this development. Nissan is a strong brand in Brazil, is establishing itself. People trust the product, they want more of it. We need to make sure not only that we give more in quantity, but we give more choice. And that's exactly what we are intending to do. Brazil has the potential to become a very large market for Nissan. You know, obviously, our first step, which is within Power 88 is to move from 1.32% of market share to above 5%, which is a tremendous growth. You know, it's 5% of a market which will be growing also a lot for the next 5 years. And then there will be a second phase after Power 88. But let's now concentrate on this first phase. Brazil will be a very important market for Nissan. It will be a market of growth, and it will be a market where we're going to start from scratch, because the brand in a certain way is very little known, and it will be up to us to write this new chapter. And this is great, because when we always start from scratch, we do a much better job.